kind of a crazy 60 minutes at times, Steve. And, we talked early on in this game about how you come back from a West Coast road trip.
Right.
Maybe you need a little bit of time to get that motor running collectively. But the motor was running, and they had tons of opportunities. You just wonder if this was one of those puck luck nights.
That was where my focus was. I expected this game to be slow and sloppy from the Rangers' standpoint, but that wasn't the case. The Rangers had a first 10 minutes of the first period where they eased into it a little bit. They were playing safe, but they dominated the second 10 minutes of the first period. The referees collapsed this game in the second period. That was the worst set of officiating I've seen in a few years. It was very one-sided, surprisingly. And I don't say that lightly. I haven't pulled that's my mulligan on the referees.
I
haven't said it. I haven't said it.
Your guy.
I don't like doing that.
Right.
But it was that bad.
Right.
I mean, I'd be so frustrated if I was David Quinn right now. That was pathetic, right? The referees measure the game with their first call. Their first call sets the tone. The first call of the game was the Lemieux push on Josi. So now the Ranger players are left deciding on, well, if that's our measuring mark tonight, is this going to be a light night? So are we going to play a certain way? But then Nashville takes liberties on you, and you don't know what to think.
Yeah.
So it really throws off their mindset. And now the game gets a little bit out of whack with some wacky bounces that don't go in the Rangers' favor. They deserve to win the hockey game.
Well, we're going to talk about a lot of that. We're going to show you some of that as well. I think first and foremost, from a Ranger standpoint, Dave Maloney talked about it before the game. With it getting into the 30s and 40s in terms of numbers of games played, and with all these youngsters, you wonder which veterans were going to then kind of step forward, kind of give a little bit more from their game. Dave mentioned Chris Kreider as one of them, and we saw Chris Kreider not only score the Rangers' first goal, but through 60 minutes, I thought, was very apparent tonight.
Consistent, right? And that's what you're looking for Chris Kreider. Just consistency, night in and night out. Look, he had a great night in San Jose. He had an off night in Anaheim. He was great against Nashville at home tonight. You just need that every night from him because he's so important to your lineup. The physicality that he brings, the way he pushes the opposition back, the way that he's able to turn pucks over for your team to be able to put it back into play and get it through two zones. His speed is important to the Rangers' offense, and when he's going, others follow suit. That's the way it is. He's the heartbeat of speed, power. When he drives the net, he makes the game change, and he plays it at his pace. So important that he's going. This pass right here in the third was brilliant. That one almost goes through the arm of Soros. But he was all over the ice, and I thought this goal was going to set the tone because it was his shot. It was the shot that he likes to make. If you watch hockey long enough, you know that lefties really have an advantage, low blocker on the goaltender, and he made his shot. He stuck to it. And look, I'm happy for him. He has to continue to do that. If you want to be a top guy in the NHL that you can be leaned on to be helpful night in and night out, you've got to stay healthy. And that keeps you in the lineup, and then you've got to play consistently. And that's the one missing thing for Chris sometimes right now.
Came in with 1 goal in his previous 10, now has 8 on the season. That goal that he scored tied the game at 1, and it pretty much stayed that way into the second period. And then that's when Nashville scored 2 to take the lead. But it was one of those games, Steve, where I interviewed Greg McKegg after the second period, and he talked about his team being engaged. But there was a lot of, shall we say, stuff going on.
Yeah, a lot of scrums. Yeah. A lot, not fights, scrums. But look, nobody wants a face wash, and nobody wants to get into that and take a glove or a stick. But a lot of what I saw started with the very first call of the game against the Rangers. It's at the end of the first period. And Lemieux's push on the back of Josi, again, that really tells everybody where the measuring stick is, what's going to be expected. As soon as that push is made, and I'm saying to myself, there's no way that this is a penalty. There's no way this is a penalty, and there's no way that can be called. That's a push. There's no independent contact from the stick, no really hard, direct lower body shot there. And then you see this. That elbow from Ellis, John, if that's not 5 minutes, and a lot of repercussion, a suspension, you can see it. I mean, Buchnevich gets pulled right off the ice by the spotters, and now he's out and there's protocol. Now, if it was a 5 minutes, this goal would have never been scored because they still would have had Ellis in the box. So that's where the game turns inside out for me, because that turning point now leads to more of this. And then the players don't know how to do it, so they're trying to have their own code of conduct on the ice. And does that look like the Lemieux push? So you're trying to figure out, what are we calling here, guys? And those Kreider shots that he took to the body were heavy, and this leads to a lot of animosity between the players. And now there's not a lot of respect on the ice between the players. Right. Everybody's upset. And you lose control of the hockey game there if you're the referees.
And that ultimately was called on Ekholm, but it took 4 cross checks
Right.
for that to be called. So in your opinion, the Buchnevich should have been a 5?
5, guaranteed. That's games. I don't know why it's missed on the ice, but that's games right there. That's 5, and that's why Yossi doesn't have the opportunity to score.
Yeah, Buchnevich was elbowed in the face in the game in Anaheim. No call at all on that one. Yeah. Had a little shiner right by his left cheek. This time had to leave the ice, went into protocol, came back out, and was able to play most of the rest of the game. But as we talked about, when stuff like that happens, then stuff after the whistle happens.
You're gonna get all of it, because now the code of conduct between the players, it's put them in a tough spot. They're trying to police themselves now. They don't feel like they're getting coverage from the referees, so now they take it into their own hands, and you're going to get a lot of this. It slows the game down. It gets dangerous at times. Watch the way that now Jesper Fast gets it. Watch this. Jesper Fast gets a penalty on this play. How?
Ultimately.
How?
Yeah.
I mean, what are we looking at here? And it's rib shots, it's potential problems, guys. And you see all of the players now very frustrated, and it gets very sloppy.
Trouba doesn't get a penalty there, but that was when Foss did. And then this, of course, long after the whistle, while commercial breaks are going on, that was after Lemieux had gotten a 10-minute misconduct.
Which was a tap, right. But it could have been for previous behavior as well. And then later on in the third period, more of this. Everybody's driving the net, and everybody's frustrated. The players are frustrated, the coaches are frustrated, the fans are frustrated. It's tough to watch because you feel your team was doing the right thing to win a hockey game and they don't get rewarded.
Maybe some of that frustration came from the fact that the Rangers had 70 shot attempts in this game. They had 41 shots on goal. UC Saros stopped 39 of them. The Rangers did not lose this game for lack of scoring opportunities and golden opportunities. The one most notable is the one where Panarin was out that close to scoring and the puck never completely went over the line.
You ever had that moment in sports where you just stopped playing for a split second?
Yeah.
You know, that was one of those moments. Everybody was frozen in time, just looking at the puck, thinking that it was already in. Even the referee had to remind Saros that it hadn't crossed the line yet. He thought it was in, right here. He thinks it's in. Everybody's celebrating. The referee is off of Saros' right shoulder, and he says, look, that thing didn't go in. You better cover that up. And that's why he responds. But it wasn't a night where, as you mentioned, John, puck luck was on the Rangers' side. The post there from Panarin's high deflection. Lemieux has an opportunity, another chance in front here where there's a split second where the net is open and it doesn't get through off of a Strome stick. And then Artemi Panarin. Panarin again set the pace for this game. Very happy to see him come through once again. And that's goal number 20 on his season, John. And for sure, that's as fast as he's ever reached that milestone in the season. He, from the first shift of this game, set the pace. And that's another thing that I like about this hockey player. I feel like when I watch this guy play hockey, it runs through him.
Yeah.
And he takes the puck in his first shift of the game, 3 zones. Everybody showed up to play. The Rangers should not hang their head about this outcome because they came to play on a night where a lot of people thought it was going to be very difficult for them to compete.
Yeah, that Panarin goal, 43 points on the season now. That made it 3-2. Then 2 empty net goals in the final minute plus, and that's how you get to the 5-2 final.